So doing these sorts of things, you really have to be up on watching the weather, because obviously the weather impacts things that are growing outside, but people tend to think of watering, make sure it has enough water, which is obviously very crucial, but water can also be a detriment. So tonight it's going to water, and this is especially true if you're going through a dry spell and then going to get a good amount of water. We're really not in that since it's still spring, but certainly this is more applicable during the summertime when you don't get much rain and then all of a sudden you get the downpours. So anytime it's about to rain, specifically for me, I will go out and pick the crops that are going to be susceptible to water intake at this point. So let's just take the example of radishes. So radishes is a root, and that bulb is the basis of the plant, which means when it absorbs water, it's going to go right to the bulb. And if the bulb itself has not expanded to a point where it can sufficiently absorb water, if it gets over that point, what's it going to do? It's going to split. So anytime it's about to rain for root vegetables, I'll try to pick as many as I can, because water, if it absorbs too much beyond the capacity of that bulb, it will keep absorbing that because that's what the plant will do. And sometimes it absorbs too much and you'll get a lot of cracking. So for the root vegetables, I'll pick it. Tomatoes, I would pick it. It is something to be aware of. I usually also pick for flavor, because as a plant also absorbs water, it dilutes its flavor. So anytime it would rain in the summer, I typically would do a big pick of peppers and tomatoes, because I don't want that additional water. I want that flavor to be more concentrated, so that also helps too. So when you're doing this sort of setup, be aware of the weather, be aware of the weather conditions, and be aware of what might potentially be impacted as a result of those weather conditions. Typically people just think water as a good thing, which it is, but it can also be a bad thing, specifically in the context of produce that is susceptible to cracking if it absorbs too much water. So in this case, it's early spring. I'm going to pick a good amount of these radishes. It's really the only other thing that's going to be impacted because nothing else is up to that point. But if turnips were up to that point, or anything else that I thought would be, I would certainly do a big pick of those.